to part 15 of the React tutorials for beginners series. In this part we are going to look into higher order component. So higher order components are very important to learn for a reason that it is used extensively in Redux also. So it's better to learn them, and Redux, as you all might know, it is still relevant because all the projects created in the past 4-5 years uses Redux heavily. So if you are going to work, you have to work with Redux. So there is no alternative for it, and Redux is quite nice once you get the hang of it. So let's see the higher order component which forms the basis of Redux. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do, this is my, we are using the same hello world, the project. So this is the file from the previous part 14. So that's why it is looking like this. So what I'm going to do first, will see the need of higher order component. So first we will create a click counter, click counter.js, and it will be a class based component. Like this. Let me remove this, and then we are going to have a simple counter here. So for the counter, what we will do, we need rconst inside this. I will have count is 0. Then inside here, let us take that const, will destructure it, count equal to this dot state return, a button will be there. Clicked, count the state count, click count times, and on click it will increment this count. On click, make some space, on click equal to a function this dot increment count. So this dot increment count will be called. So let's create this function, increment count equal to an arrow function, and see the counter, it uses our previous state of the count. So we will use set state in a different way, and I have already teached earlier how to we use a set state in 3 different ways in my earlier video, so you can refer to it. Set state, and not the ordinary set state, but we want the previous state, so we will write prev state like this, return count is previous state dot count plus 1. So like this, a normal count. So let me save it, and let us remove this old code and first. Counter So I have this and it is working perfectly. Click counter. So now what happens, I need this functionality again, so let's have another same type of component, but I want on hover. So let me copy this, but and I will create another file known as hover counter.js. Copy it. The name will be hover counter, and it will also be hover counter. The same internal state will be there, account will be there, but instead of a button we'll have a h2 first. So let me do first h2, and it will not be a click handler, everything else will be same, it will be on mouse hover. There is another event for that, on mouse over, on mouse over is there, so on mouse over will be there and it will increment the count. Let me save it, and now we have to include it to be shown. Hover counter, let me save it, and it is done. If I hover my mouse over it, it will increase, and this is also increase. So as you might have seen that what is happening, we have the same logic, this logic here, this logic here, repeated 2 times. So what will be the solution for it? So the one of the solution will be, let me show the solution. The solution will be this. Solution will be to lift the counter logic to the parent and pass it at props to both click and hover counter, so that increment logic we will take it to the app.js, or yeah, in our case app.js, and we will pass it as props. So this is the solution. So but this is okay in this case, but what if this is there? What if our click counter and the hover counter are not at the same level? There is some other component before the hover counter comes. So this is where higher order components come into picture. So what is a higher order component? The higher order component is to share common functionality between components. Actually, it is a pattern where the function takes a component as an argument and returns an enhanced component. So by that we can think, yeah, a pattern where a function takes a component as an argument and returns a new enhanced component. So our enhanced component is a will be equal to higher order component and the original component. Okay, so a very good example is that Tony Stark is there and his suit is there. So with suit we'll pass the Tony Stark, which is a component, and he will become Iron Man. So this is a very good example of higher order component. So let us go back, and now we will start working on the our higher order component. So our higher order component, we have to create a separate file. So let me open, and we will call it with counter.js. Then after that it will be a not this, yeah, this one, it will be a functional component first. So the width counter is there. Okay, so and then after that in the width counter we will have our, we'll pass this wrapped component, wrapped component. And then after that we will have a class with width counter extends component. Now see what we are going to do. We'll come here, any one of it, and we will, let me take this and let me cut it actually. So I've cut it and I have pasting it here. So the whole logic I'm moving from there to here, and so it's a class thing with counter. So what I have to do, I have to do a render for it. So render method, it will return our wrapped components. It is a single one, so I can remove this because of the arrow function thing. So return wrapped component, there will be a prop count, and it will be this dot state dot count, and another one increment count equal to this dot increment count, this one, or increment count it is calling. So let me close it, so it is closed. And after that we have this return of this our with counter component. So here also you have to return, and we will return this class like this. We will return this class, and our higher order component is complete. So again what we have done, we have created a functional component. After that we're passing a component, this wrapped component will be passing it, and then with counter all the functionality we have added, the functionality which we need, and then we've given this functionality to the wrapped component. So yeah, so let us use it. So our counter, we have already deleted that part, so the logic, so let us do it there. Import with counter from with counter, then after that a render, a simple render will be there, and count comma increment count. And this is not a state right now because it doesn't have this thing. This is a props right now which we are going to receive, and then after that everything will be like this. But this dot increment is a prop, so it is not, this will not be there. Yeah, and count will be there, but how will we receive it? We will receive it here when we export it. So we have to wrap with counter this width counter, and then we have to pass the hover counter to it, and let me save it like this, it will be there. Similarly the click counter also I have to do. So let me go there, click counter, Let me first remove this because we don't need it anymore. So see, our logic, our component have become so less. The logic, all the logic we have moved to our HOC, increment count, and this is not a state. This is props. So this is only increment count, click count number, and this is, let me copy from here. With counter, we have to wrap it. Let me save it. Now, yeah, let me refresh it a bit. Yeah, see, it is working perfectly, and it is working perfectly. So everything is done, means already the click counter is there in our app.js, so we don't have to do anything. Only it is, we are wrapping it with counter, so our HOC is done. But everything is done, but we have a small issue. That small issue we will solve, and we are done with everything. That small issue is that right now, suppose these are the child command, and I have implemented the HOC logic, and I want to pass some other props to it through the parent, which in our case is app.js. So let me let me pass to only one of the component, not two. Let me pass to the here click counter. So let me, we are getting another props as name, so that, but this we are not getting from the HOC, this we are getting from the parent. So name clicked count this many times. Okay, so now just we need to go here and click counter, the which is a parent, and here name, we're just passing a prop. So passing it, saving it, but you can see it is not coming. So why it is not coming? It is not coming because our click counter and our counter, they are wrapped with the HOC, means they are wrapped with HOC, they comes through the HOC. So our props, we are not getting our props. So to solve that issue, every time when we create an HOC, we have to do one thing. We have to come here, the wrapped component, and pass the rest of the props as it is, we are getting from anywhere. So our usual, this is the spread operator, this dot props. So it means that these two props are coming from here, and the rest of the props, whatever are there, it is just passing through. Let me save it. Now when you click, yeah, and it is working perfectly. No functionality is broke. So this complete our higher order component. This is the logic for this is might seem a bit complicated, but I try to make it as easy as possible. So you see this code 2-3 times, and it will, you'll get the hang of it. It's not that difficult. So this completes our part 15. See you soon in part 16.